My musical journey started when I was really young. Back down. My mom said she always noticed that I was singing constantly. It was just something that, even when very, very young, it's just something I loved. And she noticed that I had some natural ability and some talent with it. So she put me, besides going to church and everything and learning about the power of music in that sense, she also put me in choir. And then the choir director put me into opera. And I did opera for a few years. And then I was also in orchestra. So that was the start of everything. There's a lot of differences between the Shapeshifters, the music we make with the Shapeshifters versus the music I make solo. They're really two different worlds, and I treat them very much that way. Like two different performances, two different atmospheres. The solo music is much more emotional and from the heart and intimate and raw and soulful, and kind of a mixture of blues and folk and gospel and soul and these different kinds of genres. And that's not to say that the Shapeshifter music doesn't have heart and soul, but it's in a very different way. For instance, if you come to a performance that's a solo show, you're gonna get a much more intimate, raw, very emotionally charged performance that's a little bit sadder sometimes and sometimes happy, but it's a little bit different. Versus the Shapeshifter music, if you go to a show that's with them, it's gonna be much more intense, rock and roll, heavy blues, rowdy, like everything. And that goes to say for the music too I make with the Shapeshifters. It's much more emotionally charged, but in an intense way, in a very loud rock and roll, loud, aggressive intensity. And I feel like I need both sides of the coin to be able to truly be happy as a musician. And I know that there's gonna be more coins added in the future to where, I might make a record or have a band that's an R&B band or a soul record or a soul band, or maybe, there's a lot more to come, is what I'm saying. And the Shapeshifters fulfill a side of me that the solo music can't. And, some people only like the solo acoustic stuff, and some people only like the Shapeshifter stuff, and then others like both and everything that I do. And I don't judge them for that, because of the fact that it is two very different things. I love it both. I love them all, though. I love everything. And I need both, like I said, to be able to be content and satisfied as a musician. How I got the song in the Last of Us 2 trailer is actually kind of crazy when I think about it. I got an email from a person at Sony PlayStation, and they were very straightforward, and they said, we're interested in using this song for a project. They didn't tell me anything, not what project, not how it would be used, not who would do anything. They said that someone was gonna cover the song, so they wouldn't be using my version. So that was like, interesting, I wonder. But they didn't tell me anything. And they asked if I would agree to it. And, at first I was thinking about it, and it was like, well, I kind of want to know what it's gonna be used in. But then I got a little selfish, and I was like, well, no matter what, if Sony is gonna use this with a video game, any anything I can get to help push the music forward, it would be really helpful. And I know that they have a massive audience. So I agreed, and it was kind of scary though, because I didn't know what it would be, what would happen, what game, who was covering it, would they do a good job, would they make it something strange? And so for 2.5 years, I didn't hear anything about the project whatsoever, and I was in the dark, but I understand why, because they got to keep it hush-hush, but they didn't tell me even. So then I get an email the day before the PlayStation Experience release, where they released like information about the new games and trailers, and the same guy said, "You should watch this tomorrow." So I was like, oh, okay. So I sat through 2 hours of watching it, tons of different games, and I was like, man, when is this gonna happen? Because I wasn't thinking about it, but they typically save the best for last, and I didn't think much about it. I really thought that my song was gonna be used in, you wouldn't even notice it. It would be in the background somewhere as something was happening, and the people that really listen, they'll get it, but I didn't think it would be that big of a deal. And then when the trailer started playing and I realized it was The Last of Us sequel, it was just, my mind was blown again. I did not expect it whatsoever to be used so prominently in the game too, and sung by Ellie. Like, that's crazy, that's ridiculous. So it blew my mind, and as soon as that happened, all my friends, everybody, they just watch it because they love PlayStation as well, and they were calling me like, "Did you hear that your song is in this? Did you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just found out when you found out." So it was kind of a surprise, but a beautiful surprise, and it's helped me out immensely. A lot of people who wouldn't have listened to the music before found out about it, and they searched the back catalog, and now I have people from all over the world listening to my music from 5 years ago to the new stuff to everything. And the beautiful thing about Through the Valley is that I never really thought anything would happen with it, because it's a very sad, a bit dark, and kind of a depressing song. And I recorded it like 5 years ago in my bedroom of this old 1930s house I was living in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And the fact that it's that song that turns out now to be my most popular song is really validating as an artist for me, because now I have this mindset. In the past, I had a mindset of, okay, it's probably gonna be something more catchier or something more happy or upbeat that people are gonna like. And now it's my dark, sad stuff that's blown up. So it's beautiful for me. That means I can do that and be able to get something out of it, I guess, but it's really beautiful. And I found out later, afterwards, that Neil Druckmann, the creative director of Naughty Dog, he was a fan, and he was the one that chose that song because it lined up so well with the emotion and kind of the darkness and the feel of the Last of Us game. So when I found that out, it was I bowed down. I was like, thank you so much for, doing this for me. And his answer was, well, thank you for making amazing music. If it weren't for the music, I wouldn't have chosen that, and it's inspiring to him, the song, just as much as what he's done is inspiring to me and helps me push things further than I ever could get on my own. So it's very beautiful. I loved it. Yeah, and that's something that she talked about in the panel, is that at first she was trying to sing it like me, and kind of like very perfectly, and or not perfectly, but more like me. And then she had to go to a vocal coach that helped her create Ellie's singing voice based on kind of what she went through and the character she is and would be, and kind of create this voice for her it's not her own voice. It is her own voice, but it's also different because she's kind of acting. You know what I mean? So I thought the version was absolutely very good. She killed it. It was spot on. Like the intimacy of it, and kind of like there's a few weakness points where her voice cracks or something, but it's so emotionally beautifully done that I think she absolutely nailed it. Absolutely.
This ain't love, are you beggars, your liars and your thieves. I'm about to bring you something that's gonna take you to your